Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we have a special guest. It's Trent Davis, my husband. And I just thought I'd bring him on the channel just to ask him a few questions.
Have this feeling, haven't felt for so long. Took a hold of me and won't let go.
How are you feeling?
Good, exposed to the world.
If you could tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, like she said earlier, my name's Trent Davis. I'm her husband, and really that's the most important part about me. That's my number one job and stuff. No, I originally grew up in Beaver, Utah. It's a little small town. It's way better than any of the cities she always drags me off to. 100%. Country living beats city living any day. I'd rather have cows and malls. 100%.
So, I guess we'll start off with, how many kids do you want?
Well, honestly, it changes every day. Sometimes I think I'd be grateful with any. I'll start off. One is obviously a billion times better than none. But in a perfect world, I'd have to say 3 to 4.
That is a perfect world. I'll take 12. No.
And she would totally do it. If we only have one child, she's going to be that mom. It tries to be a mom to every single one of their friends. Yeah. And the cops are going to show up trying to get kids back. We're going to be the kidnappers on the block.
No, we won't. But seriously, I do want kids to feel comfortable. And just for my kids to have their friends over and stuff like that, I want to be that mom.
I'm going to be the old man in the rocking chair yelling, "Get off my lawn." And she's going to be the sweet old lady giving them cookies.
What was the first appointment like?
The first appointment was with our primary care physician. And as we were talking to him, we were asking, okay, so what do we need to do on this route? And I asked the doctor, is there anything I need to do? And he just said, more sex. And at that point in time, I asked him if he could write that down on a prescription pad for me, because that's the best advice the doctors ever gave me.
And I remember being so embarrassed. I was like, we were brand new, newlyweds. It was just, yeah, I remember being like, oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing. But yeah.
Honey, I need to fill my prescription.
Yeah. And he wouldn't do it, right? I don't think you actually ended up getting
No, he wouldn't write it down for me. Because probably legal liability reasons, Yeah. Get caught parking in the car. The cop walks up to the window and be like, "It's medical."
It was a prescription. I promise.
So I understand why he wouldn't actually write it out for me, but It was worth a shot.
What has been the most awkward experience about this so far?
The awkward experience would probably be the first time, I had to go to what I like to call the awkward room. And any guys that's been through this process knows what I'm talking about. You walk into this room and it's just this big reclining chair, and you know what that room's for. And everybody in that office knows what you're doing in that room.
Yeah, I remember when he first went to do the awkward room, he was just telling me, I'm so nervous. This is making me so uncomfortable. I feel like I'm going in there and everybody's looking at me wrong, or everybody's judging me or whatever, and
when I got done, it felt like the walk of shame.
Yeah. It was definitely awkward. Did you ever think that you would have to do that?
No, not really. I never really thought about it. But when we were getting stuff set up for the appointment, my brother would always joke with me and say he was going to steal my phone and switch my ringtone to Michael Jackson's "Just Beat It."
Oh my goodness. Sorry, guy.
Or, different stuff like that. And when I was setting up the appointment, the guy that was on the phone to schedule it, you could tell it was his first day on the job. He was super nervous, trying to do everything by the book. And I'm the type of person in awkward situations, I make jokes. And so at the end of it, the guy's like, "Well, thank you, Mr. Davis. Is there anything else I can help you with today?" And I was like, "No, I think everything's going to be a happy ending today. Thank you."
We had him on speaker in the car, and you could just tell, he wanted to bust up laughing, but I'm pretty sure it was, one of those times where he was, he said, brand new. He was, there was probably somebody listening into the phone call as well, just to make sure that he was doing it right. At least that's what it sounded like. But you could just hear that he just wanted to start laughing, but he didn't want to get in trouble.
It's an interesting experience because, like, there at the clinic where we went, it's just so many little things are awkward about it. They want you to wash up and everything before you give the sample. And would it kill them to make the sinks not normal counter height? And any of these guys, talk to them. I'm sure they can vouch for you because those counters are way too high. Unless you're like 7 foot tall, it's kind of awkward. That room really serves the meaning of the awkward room.
Yeah, I remember when I went in there with you, like, because they do end up like later. Something they don't tell you at first is that you can have your spouse go in there with you. The first time, I think you. How many times have you done it? How many times have you gone into the awkward room?
How many IUIs have we done?
It's
We
either 3 or
used
4.
a fresh sample for every IUI, and then the original analysis.
So we never did a frozen
Nope.
like sample.
Well, I donated for a frozen sample.
Yeah.
As well.
Oh. After we went to the primary care physician, what were your thoughts? Were you thinking, oh, we need to take this seriously and go somewhere else? Or...
No, not so much. With the primary care physician, I was thinking, honestly, you're paranoid. It's going to work out. You're impatient. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those things, and as time went on, and plus it's like, okay, maybe we might need to see a specialist, but let's try to do it the cheaper way first.
I've asked him recently because I pushed him to go to do the consultation. I said, at least let's do the consultation. And what have you, like, were you grateful that we did that? Or are you still wishing that we had gone through the PCP at first for longer periods of time? Or what are your thoughts on it?
No, I'm glad we've done everything the way we've done. Because shortly after we first started talking to the doctor there, we did move to North Dakota. So, you know, the cost of it wasn't as big as a deal. I had a lot better health insurance and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So,
and health insurance didn't cover everything.
Just
definitely
a little bit,
not.
But
yeah, it covered
on some things.
Yeah, it covered some of the appointments, like some of the ultrasounds, I think, but it covered some things. It definitely did not cover everything, and there were a lot of prescriptions that it didn't cover. A lot, like the IUI itself, it didn't cover. We didn't have coverage in the beginning. Once we went to that first clinic, the University of Utah, what was your thought process when we did the consultation?
Around that time, I was still thinking, this is unnecessary, we're rushing it, we're jumping the gun. And that was a big part of it at the time. But as time went on, I'm glad we went when we went.
I really wanted it to be, like, less crucial than what it was. And something just kept pushing me towards doing it and, like, doing it further. So, yeah, I'm personally grateful that we did it when we did it. I'm grateful that you were at least open to the idea of going to do the consultation and stuff like that. I know, like, I totally understood where he was coming from because there was nobody at that time that was telling us we would have trouble. Nobody. They said, as you heard, the primary care physician said, just have more sex. You know, I'm prescribing that. We were newlyweds. Hello. Like, you know, like, but anyways, I guess I just have one more question. How do you feel when people ask you whose fault it is?
I honestly find it pretty frustrating because I don't want to be like, oh, it's all her fault. No, it's our problem together. It's our problem as a couple. If it wasn't me and Kaitlyn trying to have children, there wouldn't be a problem. So it is our problem. I hate the fact that everybody wants to point at one spouse or the other and just point blame on them, you know, because that's not the case. Yeah, I might not have to take all the medicines. It make me crazy. I think that's a good word for it. But, you know, it is what it is, you know, and I just try to be as supportive as I can and be there for her in every aspect I can. I just don't think people understand what the struggle on all this is really like.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely have to agree, because that is something that I get asked all the time too, is whose fault is it? And like I'm not bashful to say, like, it's totally my fault. He's been through several testing, just dealing with the awkward room and all of that, and we've never had any sort of issue with him. And honestly, I'm so grateful that we don't have any problems with him. I'm so grateful for that, because that would just be another thing to overcome.
So there's always, the next and better thing is IVF, and that's going to be interesting to see how all that goes with all the injectables and the really high doses. We're going to get to see Hormonezilla come out possibly, and it's going to be fun.
I'm excited just for the opportunity, the chance to be parents, just the chance. Because without the medication, and without the way that the medications make me feel and stuff like that, without that, there really is a much less chance.
And that's really true. You got to be grateful for the doctors and the technology and all the blessings we have in life to even be able to afford to try these things and even have the option to do it. Like, you think about people in years past where if they had any form of infertility challenge, that was just it. There was no other options. You could run away and find a new spouse, but who would do that? That's like the worst thing, because it's such a struggle.
Well, thank you for being on my channel, and I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a like. Please subscribe and stay tuned. Bye!